Marcel Duchamp is a French painter, sculptor, artist, and writer, as well as chess player who lived from 1887 to 1968. His work explores the means of cubism and conceptual art, and Duchamp is known for his ideas on the creative process and relationships between the works and the artist as well as the audience. Slide 2. Duchamp began as a painter and soon expanded his mediums as he explored the relationship of what he calls the creative act. I will explain that later. Duchamp also coined the phrase ready-made, which is the use of found objects that are incorporated into new work given meaning from the artist's standpoint. In the second image on the second slide, which is titled Fountain, it is one of Duchamp's most famous works. It's an upside-down urinal, a found object with a signature on it. Marcel wanted to explore the relationship between the reaction of the audience with his work, and it is believed that the signature on the piece relates to a comic strip that Marcel had drawn in his younger days. I think that Duchamp is creative based on how he takes objects around him and implements them into his own new ideas. I think that he also explores the relationship with the artist and the work as well as the work and the audience, which was a concept that influenced many works in the future of the art world. Also on this page, his first painting, the painting on the far left and far right, those he painted in his early years and then moved on to do more sculpture and writing, and he also played a lot of chess. And then the third picture next to the urinal is another one of his ready-made works, which is using found objects. Slide 3. Duchamp grew up in Blainville, France. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And was born into a large family of artists. His mother loved to paint, and all three of his brothers ended up attending art school. Duchamp grew to have a specific interest in mysterious, symbolistic subject matter in his works, and often pertaining to his sexuality. This interest can also be seen in Duchamp's future, as in his later years Duchamp adopted a female persona, Rose Celavy, to further explore his sexuality. Slide 4. As well as his artwork, Duchamp is very well known for his writing and his opinion and exploration of the creative process. In his journal, The Creative Act, Duchamp explains many of his unique ideas. The creative act in total means the creative act is not performed by the artist alone. The spectator brings the work in contact with the external world by deciphering and interpreting its inner qualifications, and thus adds his contribution to the creative act. He also emphasized the idea of treating the artwork separately from the artist, as he believed that the work and the being have two separate identities and should be viewed as that way. Another one of his ideas is the irresponsible medium, which, as stated in the creative act, is the notable gap between his own intentions and the end results of his artwork. This is explained through his experience as an artist. So basically, in basic terms, the irresponsible medium is when the intentions / ideas of the artist don't line up with the final product. Slide 5. So on the left is a painting from when he lived in Blainville with his family when he was growing up, and it's called Church at Blainville, but originally it's in French. And I chose to put this here because I think it's really interesting to look at the progression of his artwork and to see how in the beginning of his career as an artist, he pertains to I don't know the correct word, but he did a lot of painting, and then as he began to dabble in the modernism elements of art, he soon found a passion for more of the conceptual aspect of art, and that can be seen on the picture on the right, which is titled Hat Rack, and is It's also one of Marcel's works that introduces the idea of ready-made artwork. And so obviously he didn't make the hat rack. However, the way that he places it in the space and the way that he placed it unconventionally from how you would normally see a hat rack is what he wanted to emphasize, and why, like, that's just how that's more what he's known of. Well, okay, that's more what he's known for now. Slide 6. Duchamp's ideas and works have made me think more about the relationship between not only the audience and the artwork, but the relationship between me as an artist and my work. I think that the concept of thinking of my work separate from myself is interesting, and I think that by thinking of my artwork as separate from my own, separate from my personality, I think I can establish a better sense of empathy for what the audience might be seeing, instead of just the perspective of my artwork from myself. I also think that his definition of ready-made work is very interesting. Ready-made work being the use of found objects in artwork and then like changed from the artists, how they want to configure that found object to portray a certain idea they have, because I've always wondered how museums and etc. like credit that type of work, and so now I just want to look into it further and see if how people use found artwork. And that is the end.